welcome back to Media and More with the Mediocre Modeler. We're on part 2 of the Acolyte, where my son and I are discussing a breakdown of the episode. Without further ado, we'll get you right into it. So we open up episode 2 with Oshie sneaking into a Jedi temple.
Yes. Easily.
And then, once she's in there, she's just walking around, and there's other Jedi in there, and nobody is any the wiser.
Hey, who's that lady?
Yeah, I
haven't seen her in here before.
And so I feel like most of the Jedi are dressed very similarly, which I'm like, I thought there was more variation in the Jedi dress. Everyone, it just seems like very like the standard Jedi uniform. That's just I wasn't very excited about that. But no one seems to be alarmed. No one gets a Jedi sense. So that bothered me a little bit, or the fact that the security droid shutting down didn't set off an alarm.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it seems like that should have set off some kind of
a cloaked, masked figure just gracefully passing through two people right by him, and neither one of them looked, and even didn't bat an eye or nothing, didn't look by or anything. I find that really interesting.
Well, I mean, I guess you could argue, you could put it to force use, but we get so I guess this is going to be the pattern. We're gonna open every episode with her starting to kill a Jedi.
Yeah.
So we get to Master Torben, who's in some kind of Jedi solitude meditation.
Yeah.
And so she does her thing, attack me with all your, and he doesn't blink, he doesn't bat, he doesn't even poke an eye and go, oh, you, nothing. Okay. And so she goes to attack him and she hits a force wall.
Yeah. The first couple of punches, okay, that's fine. The kick, maybe. But when she goes as far as doing the whole climb, run up the wall, jump, spin kick thing, and she earned that. Like, she deserved that fall. Because after the first two punches, I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. Like, it's a force field. It's not like there's a top barrier where I'm going to land a kick up here. But what got me is by episode 2, we heard her say the line in episode 1. Here she, so is this just going to be a thing every episode where it's essentially the Princess Bride with, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. So that's what I'm expecting to hear.
See,
again.
Okay. See, you just ruined it for me, because the next time she says that, I'm going to say, my name.
I was just like, this is familiar. And then we get to episode 2, and it's like, okay, this is a thing.
Yeah, so I guess I kind of knew it was going to be a thing. That's, if you're going to be an assassin, you got to have a...
Yeah, I guess. I mean, okay, it worked for the previous episode, but it's like, you're really gonna try this line on a guy whose eyes are closed, who's right in front of you. He could, maybe he can hear you. I don't know.
Well, okay. So the only thing so there's some kind of force field around it, and I guess I hate to do the referential thing, but look at Dune. They had the shield, but the slow blade penetrates the shield. And I thought maybe she would try something like that, try something different other than brute force,
And my thing is, she fed with that line like, we have unfinished business. That was 16 years ago.
Right.
They probably don't remember who you are, which is why it took the previous Jedi Master taking off her mask just to, Well,
it's only been 6 years.
Oh, 6 years.
6 years.
I'm thinking, that sounds right. Yeah.
Because, I guess you have to get to the next episode to realize, just like, okay, because in the next episode we found out that at the time Master Torben was Padawan.
Yeah.
So, see, now you got me questioning if she did say it was only. Oh, it was 6 years that she had left the Jedi Order.
Right.
But we don't know how many years she was. So yeah, that would
Away
make
from home.
that would make more sense. I mean, okay, that straightens the timeline in my head better because I'm just like, there's no way he went from being a Padawan to a master in 6 years.
No.
There's no way. And with the beard and everything, and then
And the
he's got a scar. I'm
yeah,
just
which I
like, there's a
still,
story there
yeah, I was
somewhere.
really curious about
So,
that. Yeah.
and you know what? Maybe they won't even touch on it.
Probably not.
So she's throwing her little blades at it, which
Yeah.
ka-ting, 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 and then finally someone goes, something's wrong. And so she skirts up through the ceiling, which, okay, it was an open top ceiling.
Yeah.
Does it not rain there?
Or you just like having assassin friendly environments? He's like, no, he's good in here with this force field. Like, what are
Right?
we gonna do to him?
She could just lob a thermal detonator in there from outside. I mean,
Yeah, I'm already thinking all kinds of crazy scenarios, but they probably, would have just been like, oh, the force blocked all of it.
yeah.
He's that
Well,
powerful.
it's been blocked enough to keep her out.
Yeah, and then it's addressed a little bit later how long he's been in that meditative state as well, which
Okay,
pretty
then we need to press forward because I don't remember how long that is.
yeah.
We're on the ship, and you have Soul's Padawan. I think Jackie is, I think, is her name, and she's fiddling with the computer or something. And there's Osha laying on the table awkwardly. Just it's not.
I think it was a scene prop that they did not like, or it's either one of two things. Either they designed it and they didn't specify a length for people, so they were just like, let's try this. Maybe this will work. No,
Right,
maybe go
yeah.
stand over there, see if that works too.
Yeah,
So,
nobody lays.
no,
Yeah,
not with-
no.
not,
So
yeah.
But she wakes up. She's like, "What are you doing?" Well, depolarize. Basically, she told her to do the computer equivalent of Control Alt Delete.
Right.
And there's a little conversation there. Just nothing really, whole lot going on. You get the Soul talking to Vanessa Rowe again, saying that they're still on the planet. They're still on the snow planet. And she's like, well, there's been another attempt over here with Master Torben, so go and investigate. And as they were getting ready to do that, Yord.
Yeah.
Again. He's just like, well, we're not taking the prisoner. And just like, look, we're going to investigate. Maybe she can help. And the Jedi Council agrees with me. I'm just like, why do you keep trying to buck the system? You know what? I'm just like, Yord, why don't you just stay here and catalog what's left on the ship?
He really wants her to be the bad guy, at least in that moment.
Yeah, he's trying really hard. I don't know. There's something there, and I don't know what it is. But so we go back to May, and she goes to a apothecary. I mean, we didn't know that at the time, but there's a guy sleeping there, and it's her contact handler, something like that, and she's like, "Hey, I can't kill him because he's got a force field around him." But she's just like, "This is impossible," and he's like, "Well, everybody's got a weakness. You just got to figure it out." And so she decides she's going to poison him. And so he makes her a little poison concoction and takes off. And she's just like, because she makes the comment that I will kill one of the four without a weapon and please the master. So our argument before about, okay, she's been using weapons is just like, okay, she's going down the line. But the problem I see is that the people except for Torben, the line should be getting tougher.
Right.
And I guess she couldn't have killed this guy first because, okay, so open sky, she sneaks back in through the skylight just as the Jedi crew show up at the Jedi temple and like, what happened? So this is all happening all at the same time. And so she tells him, you can either go to the Jedi Council and admit what you did, or you can take this poison in front of me right here and get the absolution you seek. And up until now, Torben has not been, he's been stoned out of it. And then he wakes up. We do find out he's been at this for 10 years.
Yeah.
And which doesn't make much. That means if he's been doing this for 10 years and she's been gone for 6 years, that means he had to have gone into this trance right after they picked her up.
Probably.
And I'm just like, what?
I mean, to see that it was eating at him that much. But then he says, I've been waiting for you, which is kind of odd. So, you know, it's really strange to protect yourself in that manner just to wait for someone to show up. So hopefully we get a little more backstory on that. Maybe we might see a future episode where prior to him going into the state.
Well,
we're going to have to.
Well, yeah, because you notice the scar. Mm-hmm. He's missing his eye or whatever. There's some damage to his eye. So there's a state. I mean, they didn't. It wasn't glossed over. It was on camera. It was there for a reason. So we have to see what happened to his eye. We know it's been 10 years. So it kind of tracks that, they rescued her. She was in the academy for 4 years and she left 6 years prior. So that just means he went into this trance right after the whatever happened on Brendan or whatever the planet that they were on. I can't imagine the Jedi allowing him to do that. Just to take this all in. And
perhaps their distance from Coruscant is part of why he's allowed to get away with it.
But even you would still have to check in with somebody. I mean,
for sure.
There's hey, we haven't seen Master Yokonaka for about 6 years. Maybe somebody should go check on him.
Yeah.
Okay, they knew where he was, but
it would come into question, like, okay, if he's taking on this particular, I don't have a better word other than task. Someone would be like, well, what's the motivation behind that? If you're a Jedi and we have all these ideals and morals, then you're kind of going in the path of guilt.
Right. You're letting your emotions that you're not supposed to be control you and preventing you from moving forward in this. So we still, I mean, the way it feels, whatever happened had to be really bad.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it's affected everybody, all 4 of these. We did find out. So she said she needed to kill 4 Jedi. Mm-hmm. And so in the process of talking to this apothecary guy, she's like, if you can't kill this guy in a trance, what are you going to do without a weapon? What are you going to do about the Wookiee? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a Wookiee Jedi. Mm-hmm. So she's got a long road to hoe. But I'm just really frustrated. So they're in the temple at the same time as she's confronting Torben. He wakes up and says, "I've been waiting for you." And he takes the poison. But while they're in there, Oshi is like third, and she's almost in the very back of the line. They're walking to go meet to see where Master Oshi is, and so she sees her sister, the younger versions, and so she peels off to go chase her, and Yord sees her go off. So my frustration is the other Jedi didn't notice that she took off, and I'm going to give your points for paying attention and following. We find your dead, and she's sitting over the body, and
Torby.
the Torben. She finds Torben dead, and the other Jedi come run in, and the one guy pulls his lightsaber. It was just like, dude, first of all, you're so late.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, God,
Total
put it
yord
away. I'm just like,
You just yorded it out. That's
oh,
unfortunate.
he's a verb now. Stop
Yeah.
yording.
Yeah. And it's funny because she entered that same room from the top entrance, whereas they came in from the front. So obviously it takes longer to get to that same room, maybe,
Yeah.
from the route they took versus she just went up a hallway and then, up some stairs and then around the corner.
Why didn't they just go that way?
Yeah, and all because she had a feeling, which no one else, as you were pointing out before, has this feeling except for her. But really, she's following on behalf of her sister, not necessarily because anyone in this entire temple feels like something's off. Like no one senses anything, which is really strange.
So I'm like, but I guess it begs the question: why is this? Why did she feel anything? Is it just an echo of her sister's presence? Because she's killed her. She's already killed him. It's not like she was warning him she was killing. She was already gone. So I don't understand.
That's a good question.
Unless it's just there's some kind of force connections, force something that's you can't even call it precognition because it's both more like post-cognition. It's just like, I feel something. Well, by the time you feel it, it's already too late.
Yeah.
It's already dead. There's nothing you can do about it.
And yeah, you're right, because it's like, okay, what would be the purpose of her sister's or May's presence in sending her in the right direction? It doesn't really. So that it just kind of, I don't know. That seems like kind of like a ghost. Like
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I could totally see how that would. And that honestly just seems like just something they just threw in to just push things along. Like it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in terms of how this universe works. But because, it's all being written in the way that they want, we can just push it to make sense in the moment.
Well, like I was saying earlier, up until if this had aired just episode 1 and it stopped, I would have been disappointed. Mm-hmm. And then going into episode 2, stuff's happening, but it's really not, and it feels like it's slow. Yeah. It feels very slow. So the little kid that helped the Osha get in there, May get into the temple, identifies Osha. No, I'm getting my people backwards. The little kid that let May get in identifies Osha. Yes, you look like her with a cloak. So when they're up in, so we've had 2 identifications, but they know it wasn't her. The Jedi are on the balcony, and they're just like, are there any other apothecaries in town? And they're up on the balcony, and they're looking at it's like, yeah, that's the only one, but that's not the guy. So, Yord. So what's the plan? And Yord's just like, I will go in and I will stun the guy, and we'll make him confess and let us know what he knows. But Jackie goes, or...
Right. She's good for that. I think that's a big reason why she's there. She's like the
common sense of the crew, Yeah. And so she just says, or we could just send Ocean and she could be pretending to be May and find out the information that we need to find out. Mm-hmm. And Yord is not happy because Soul was just like, yeah, we're going to go with that plan. Give me the stun gun. And you're just like, you're giving a stun gun to a prisoner? I'm just like, dude.
She's not a prisoner
I'm
anymore.
just like, come on. and
Yeah.
you've already established that she didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm wondering
So
what their motivation was by continuing to have him like. Where is the? Hopefully, that acceptance will kick in soon. But she must have been a whole lot better than him in the academy.
yeah, that
He is
he's
super
holding
jealous.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
gotta be what. And then finally, now that she's in a prisoner status, it's like, no, no, yeah, you're one of those people. So I'm thinking he's holding on, which he shouldn't be. He shouldn't. But
Right, no, as a Jedi, he should have let all that go. He again, the the through line is acceptance and letting things go, and it's like nobody's accepting anything, and even Master Soul, who says, because part of the conversation when they were on the ship was, he's just Osha was saying that you were always trying to teach me to let go of the past, and I just wasn't. Maybe I just wasn't a very good student. And his response, well, maybe I wasn't a very good teacher. So everybody's holding on to a little bit of this
yeah,
guilt. We'll just call it guilt
Right.
for what happened that night. So they're gonna have to show us what happened that
they
night.
have to.
So we get Osha in to talk to the apothecary guy. I don't think we've been given his name yet. And she's like, "Hey, hey,
Yeah.
hi!" It's just like, oh,
She was so ready for
God.
this a couple of seconds ago.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if you're going in trying to be the bad, just like go in there just like a boss and be
Right.
like, "Yo," and just let him start talking. But she just it was just very awkward, and he goes, "So did you kill blah blah blah? Did you use the poison?" And they're like, he said poison, let's go." He gets in so they all show up and they're like, "You're working with Meg." Oh, well, let me back up. He figures out that it's not Meg. He goes, "You look just like her,"
Yeah.
and that's when they show up. And Yord, did he pull out his lightsaber again?
Yes, he did
I'm
again.
just like,
And then Soul
Yord.
just breezes right by it, like it's all like close to your head and everything, and just like you just get. I guess you get used to that.
Right.
Just sabers
I-
in the air, and
you know. But so he basically tries to play it off like, "Oh, I don't know I'm just I work for the Huts, and I run drugs, and then I just get these people what they leave, so what they need." And I feel like that's a cover. He knows more than what he's saying.
Right.
And he even asks him Soul even asks him point blank, "Who's her master? Does she have a master? Who is he?" Because he said, you're going to please him. So he knows. I guess we don't know yet exactly. We don't know what he knows
Yeah.
to the fullest extent, but he does drop the information. "Hey, I am holding something for her. She'll be back here tonight, so you can capture her then." Which to me seems like a really bad setup, because I would think that he's probably got enough faith in her to realize that even though he's kind of setting her up, she'll be able to get out of it.
oh yeah,
So, but this stuff, it's really not been that exciting up till now. It's just
it's
not,
very
not a whole lot has
typical.
happened.
It's very typical of a character like him to sell out. Normally it's for the right price, or that he'd been working for someone else the whole time. But yeah, I do think you make a good point. Like him knowing that she can get out of this situation is definitely worthy of. Not I wouldn't. Well, maybe worthy is too big of a stretch on that one, but he had at least enough foresight to know like she'll probably get out of this.
Right, right. And even on top of that, maybe before she gets there or while she's there, he could figure out a way to warn her that there's a problem.
Right.
So some kind of code word they may have, or something. Because I think the thing that threw Osha off is when she was just like, "Yeah, I wanted to thank you," and just like,
Yeah.
okay, that's when he was just like, "No, no, she wouldn't be thanking me. That's just not her MO. So, and she said, "Oh, I wanted to see you," and just like,
Yeah, that was such a
no.
bad line. Like,
Yeah, it was.
oof.
So, I
They could have
mean,
done well. I no, I think they did that perfectly for a person who's not on
right, yeah,
no for what her
right.
sister's actually doing.
Okay, I guess. I don't know. I think
She
well,
could have done that. Like you've traveled, you're supposed to be well traveled. You couldn't just play up that role for just a couple of minutes just to get some
right.
info out of this guy.
But they got him. So they set a trap for May, or they know she's coming back to the apothecary, and they confront her in the courtyard. So Soul, which was a very good fight.
Yes.
He never draws his lightsaber through the whole fight, but it's like one of her moves so far was going to grab for the lightsaber, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, well, I, I don't understand what the deal is, because when she killed Master Indara, she didn't take the
No,
lightsaber,
she
so I'm
did
just like,
not.
why do you keep grabbing for it?
Yeah.
But Soul's whole purpose was to try and find out who her master is, who is training her, because she's obviously been trained. And they keep, at one point, well, they're fighting, and he's just redirecting her energy, her body, just kind of like around his and everything. And he spins her around and kind of pushes her away, and takes all her knives.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like, oh, that was sweet.
Yeah. He's very graceful in how he fights.
And so, and he specifically says, you're attacking me with a weapon, without a weapon. Why? So obviously he knows something. There's something behind this. Because what other weapons in the galaxy would there be? It's not. If we would know, if it's a Sith, he's gonna attack her with a red lightsaber. And the Sith are supposedly extinct in the galaxy at this point. So it's like he's tapping into what she's trying to do, but at the same time, how would he know? What are you expecting her to attack you with?
Yeah, and that was my question would be like, is obviously they're not aware of what an acolyte is.
Right,
Whatever
right. This is
trying to
something
strive
new.
for is
Yeah.
some kind of secret society that the Jedi obviously aren't aware of as of yet. So yeah, him questioning the whole not fighting without a weapon is really odd. But yeah, the disarming of the kunai so gracefully was really good. And you do make a good point about the reaching for the saber. And I'm under the impression that perhaps she needs to acquire a trophy upon possibly defeating a Jedi without.
But she didn't take one from Master Indara, and she didn't take one from. Well, I guess we don't know that she didn't take one from Soul, but from what we can tell, she didn't take one from Soul. And Soul
Yeah, we don't know.
wouldn't have had his lightsaber on him. He wouldn't need it.
Right.
You know.
But perhaps in defeating a Jedi without a weapon, you then take their weapon and then, who knows, mutilate their
see-
lightsaber to be red?
There is a thing where, in order to, one of the ways that you get a lightsaber is you have to bleed you go in and you force it, and which turns it red. I think they call it bleeding a crystal.
Heard about that. Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the direction they go in this canon, and that would lend itself more to a Sith thing. But at the same time, I just don't think that I'm not sure if she would have had the ability to kill him without a weapon. There's just no. Okay. it feels like he's the stronger Jedi Master than what Master Dara was, and absolutely better than the
Torben.
Torben. You know, yeah. I'm so frustrated with Torben. I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, go. They're just like, go Jedi. Just go meditate somewhere else. You're dumb.
He spent time building up that ability to do the Force thing and float.
Yeah,
Okay, sure. But I guess just to buy time.
But they're facing off, and she has one more kunai. It comes sliding out of her
Classic sleeve kunai. Yeah.
and just as she gets ready to throw it at Soul, the first good thing that Yor did, he used the Force and pulled it up to him, and I'm going, you finally Yorded good. You know?
Right.
But at one point when they're fighting, she does a flip and she's like on her back, and Soul has her floating above the ground, and he's in her head, and he tells her that your master has taken great effort to conceal himself. You couldn't tell me who he is even if you knew. So that kind of deepens the mystery. At the same time, we're kind of he makes mention that tells her that Osha's still alive, and she's like, my sister's dead, you're lying. And Gord confirms, like, no, she's still alive. And she gets out of it. You've got Yord, you got Soul, and you've got her in the middle. And they're kind of closing in, and the Jedi, the Padawan is in the ship with the spotlight, so she's basically surrounded. The one time that Yord doesn't pull his lightsaber, when he should have, he just kind of like, should I
feeling the conflict.
I'm just like, dude, this is the one time.
Which is funny because
go ahead and pull your lightsaber.
Hesitate for Osha.
Nope.
That's kind of funny.
Nope. I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? But she does a dust cloud thing and disappears. As she's running through the town, she gets hit by a speeder going by, and the operator of the speeder gets out to help her, and so she speeder jacks him, basically.
Throws him on the ground,
But at the same time, Osha is running towards that intersection, and she yells at her, like, May! And she looks over, she's like, Osha? And then, so they have this moment. And I didn't catch this the first time, but so Osha thought May was dead, and May thought Osha was dead. Mm-hmm. So whoever's training May, I can see them using that as a motivating tool to try and get rid of the Jedi, which lends itself to this being a Sith thing.
Right.
And based on what we've heard about what happened through the little information we have seen, there was also a conversation where May is angry with, Osha's angry with May because she killed my family, and she's basically wanting revenge. And Soul says, you're wanting revenge, and that's just not the right way. And they're like, well, you're not my master. I would have liked it better if she had said, you're not my master anymore, because that would have kind of solidified that connection.
Right.
But they didn't. I think it was a missed opportunity on their part.
They're trying to leave room for her to, because who knows where this show is going to go.
Yeah.
But maybe they're trying to leave room for her to train again, or she's going to recall something.
Yeah, I mean, we're absolute. Well, see,
but 6 years untrained.
She's going to have to train. There's just no two ways about that. I don't know why. And now I'm kind of feeling
montage that.
I'm feeling some kind of a buddy cop collaboration here, where we get to the end and the big bad has to fight Osha and May together.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's just I'm just and that just
Yeah. And then they're gonna
it,
say the line that they said in the beginning
yeah,
about,
about born is two,
two,
but
blah
yeah,
blah
born is
blah.
one. Yeah, yeah.
It's coming up. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It
That's a
is. It
good point.
absolutely is. So, but this is pretty much she gets away. May gets away after OSHA is standing there looking at her, and then the anger takes over, and she shoots the stun gun at her and misses her
On
twice.
purpose. I feel like the first one was definitely on purpose. The second one, I don't know about that.
Just
I'm not really entirely sure about.
so she gets away. The the Jedi. So they call Jedi Master Vanessa Rowe and say, "Hey, we need to go after May. We know where she's going." And she's like, "No, we need a plan. You need to come back to Coruscant right now." I mean, it was one thing when we had a rogue Jedi, but now we have this untrained Jedi, this untrained Force assassin out there. No, you need to come in and we need to discuss this. I'm like, no, no, and
It sounds like something's afoot with that. There's got to be some kind of something going on in the Jedi Council.
now me personally, I'd have been like, okay, I'll see you on Coruscant.
Right.
And I'd have been, I mean, at least send him a message or so. So what they were talking about is the Wookiee Jedi. So we see the planet that he's on, and you see two guys going through the woods, and it's like, hey, we found there's this crashed ship over here. Maybe we can salvage the hyperdrive. And why is this here? And you see the Wookiee Jedi come, and one of the guys pulls a gun, and he snatches the gun away from him with the force, and he snaps the gun in half, and the guys run off, into the woods, and then the Wookiee goes into the ship. It's even got like a wooden door, so
Yeah, I
so
didn't
now
catch
you're
that the
like,
first time.
why did this ship crash? Why is it here? Did you crash it on purpose? I mean, why have you not tried to get off this? Just too many questions. So, and then episode ends.
Thinking back on the first episode, I'm wondering why she was the. I'm having trouble remembering her name. Carrie Ann Moss's
Indara.
What was her presence there on that planet? Like, what was she? Like, was
On
just
on the planet she got killed on?
business? Yeah, like I don't think that'll be addressed, but there has to
Well,
be a reason why she was there. I mean, obviously, they
well,
didn't
I
know
mean, but
about anything the acolytes are doing, so but she was easy to track. So that's
right.
kind of why I'm like
Well, I
questioning.
mean, the Jedi have always been keepers of the peace. They're just out there, and they're kind of spreading their message and showing. They just kind of they're not a police force, but they help keep things smoothed over. I mean that we had that, or they were in this era of peace and prosperity for a reason, because the Jedi would go out and squash. The mindset would be squash evildoers, or tyrants or whatever like that, and maybe that's just what she was out there doing, exploring, because obviously whatever they were there, she's not on the detail that she was on when they ran across May and OSHA. They had moved on from that because they were on. Well, I mean, we found out in the episode they're on that planet as a team. So
Yeah, but yeah, you do make a good point about the possibility of a twin team up at the end.
it's got to be.
Equally as much as I'm starting to assume that someone else is pulling the strings, manipulating both the twins, utilizing their connection to each other in order to achieve certain goal. You got the anger from the one who thinks, that her sister's dead. You have the one who has the guilt from knowing that her sister did all this stuff, but in reality, we don't know really
Well,
who caused what as of yet.
the problem I see with that is that it kind of opens the door to a third direction, because if it is the Sith that have trained her and she's thinking, and she was told, well, your sister's dead and the Jedi killed her, right? And then on the Jedi side, all we know so far is that her family was killed, and it was May's fault, and all they could do is take her back to the Jedi, because there was no one on the Jedi
Torben did say, he was like, we thought we were doing
doing
the right thing.
right.
And that's very ominous. But that could also mean like he just, in his mind, it could have just been, I mean, well, there's the one direction which I can only theorize when we talk about the next episode. And the other one would just be that, you know, he was just a Padawan, and, you know, like, we were just told that we were trying to come and get you guys, and then stuff happened, so we thought we were doing the right thing by trying to come and get you. So, like, it could, you know, there's room for
That, and that's the way I kind of felt, and things went south, and he felt guilty.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things went very south if people died.
But based on how the council is like trying to reel it back in, that just makes me question things about how decisions are made there, which is part of my theory for the next episode.
Right. But that's kind of the narrative that we've been given a long time, that there were collusion in the Jedi hierarchy. So I'm sure there is some there. I just don't think it's not actually necessary to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't. To me, it doesn't make for a good storyline, a through line. So, but whatever.
It will definitely steer away from what the end goal for this particular series is trying to achieve by, you know, delving too deep into Jedi Council politics. I think that'd be like a completely different show versus what we're supposed to be getting out of this one. So, you know, I mean, that might open the door, since they're already trying to dial it back 100 years. Maybe we can look into a boring, you know, Coruscant trial show, which we saw bits and pieces of in was it Mandalorian?
No.
Yeah. Ahsoka. With the doctor guy who.
Oh, that one episode. Yeah.
Oh man, that was a curveball episode. I was just like, why are we doing this? What are we doing? It was still good though.
Well, but and I know I'm going to get some hate for but I that's kind of how I felt about Andor. You haven't watched Andor, but it was just like, why do I want to see this? Why do I want to see the politics part of the space opera? Just like, you know, I mean, I always want to go see the pew pew. Other people want to see other things. So, I mean, there's whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna that's episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that is episode 2. This all kind of came together on Father's Day, so it was kind of thrown together on the fly. We're going to get this all lined out to where he can be at his place and I can be at mine, and we can chat over Skype or whatever. We're going to get it together. But I'm having a good time. I'm having a blast doing this with my son. But we're going to get on episode 3, and then 4 should be out tomorrow or today. And we will keep going. Until next time, this is the Mediocre Modeler with Media and More, the Acolyte. Pew 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 pew.